Sincerely, Commanding Officer Albert Buckley. Ellie looked up at Lieutenant Andrews. Who is Commanding Officer Buckley?
He works for Supreme Commander Douglas MacArthur.
He's in charge of the Allied forces in the Southwest Pacific, right?
Yes.
She waved the letter in the air. Is this supposed to scare me?
It is supposed to show you the seriousness of this situation, he said.
What situation? Why can't you just tell me?
The only information you need right now is that if you pass this test, you will be involved in an operation that is integral to helping the Allies win this war.
I'm already contributing to the war effort. The government has taken over most of QEA's fleet so we can rescue people and get essential supplies to our troops.
I appreciate the value of your work.
His tone was measured.
If you could just come with me, then you'll have ample opportunity to discuss this with the person in charge.
General MacArthur? She asked.
No, but these are his wishes.
Why don't you wear a uniform if you're a lieutenant? She asked.
I must remain inconspicuous when visiting potential candidates. We do not want to raise suspicion among your colleagues.
Do you work in intelligence?
This question shows me you're already a good candidate. Now, will you come with me?
Ellie's fingers wrapped around the letter. She had two choices. Stand and argue until one of them melted onto the tarmac, or do as Lieutenant Andrews requested and get it over with. My shift's finished, so I'll get my things. She made her way to the hangar and entered the ladies' change room. Kat was nowhere in sight. Ellie washed her hands with vigour, yet the grease stubbornly remained in the creases of her skin. She unbuttoned her overalls and changed into her day clothes, a simple floral dress, hat, and lace-up shoes. Ellie made her way to where Lieutenant Andrews stood next to the lodestar. She's a beauty, eh? Ellie ran her hand along the wing, her fingers brushing across the rivets. There's something magical about taking to the skies, a freedom that can't be found anywhere else.
Free as a bird, so they say.
Exactly. She dropped her hand to her side. But you're not here to listen to my musings.
I actually find them interesting, said Lieutenant Andrews, although I do request we move along.
Ellie walked with Lieutenant Andrews to the car in the visitors' car park. He went to open the back door, but she took a step towards the front.
If you wish.
Lieutenant Andrews opened the passenger door and she got in, the leather creaking as she settled herself against the seat. Silence filled the car as they drove away from the airfield. Ellie concentrated on the vacant paddocks that led to streets lined with one-storey suburban houses, a bridge over the river, and eventually the city centre. They drove past the soldiers on the streets. Australian, American, Dutch, British, Free French, New Zealander, Chinese, Filipino, Indian, and Canadian. They were a common sight with over 100,000 troops now using Brisbane as the staging post for fighting the war in the Pacific. Lieutenant Andrews continued through the city centre and to the grand suburb of Ascot, where impeccable gardens surrounded beautiful mansions. He turned onto Mayfield Street, where he parked in front of a small weatherboard house. She got out and walked with him down the garden path, but faltered when they reached the steps leading to the front door.
Miss O'Sullivan, I understand your hesitation, but
the wire door swung open, and a portly woman of around 60 stepped out. Her grey hair was pulled into a tight bun. The smile lines around her eyes helped Ellie relax. Only little.
Miss O'Sullivan, it is so lovely of you to join us. I'm Mrs. Jocelyn McGuinness.
She held open the door. Ellie stepped inside, the cool air wrapping around her. The walls of the hallway were bare, except for picture hooks and faint rectangular shadows where frames had once hung. She followed Mrs. McGuinness into the front room that contained 2 desks and 4 chairs. Mrs. McGuinness motioned for Ellie to sit on a wooden chair in front of a desk.
Tea with milk?
Mrs. McGuinness asked. Yes, please.